Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. You know how much I love my musical guests. I love these artists. They come on, they share their soul and their hearts and all of their good stuff with us. And today we have, I'm going to use just one name. Setche is with us. We're going to talk about building bridges, the miracle of authenticity, which all of my viewers know we talk about authenticity and vulnerability and transparency a lot on the show. So I absolutely love this. And then she's going to wrap us up with a performance. And so I'm very excited to introduce you to Setche. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Ted. How are you?
I am also wonderful. I love when musical guests come on. I love when a creative comes on and shares their passion. And especially when a creative comes on and who is an artist and comes up with a cool title like you did. So, all right. So I told you before we went live, the audience loves origin story. They want to know your beginnings. So give us the 411 on Setche.
All right. So I'm originally from Cameroon. That's in West Africa. And I came here to America about 16 years ago. I studied chemical engineering. And all along, I have really loved music and dancing.
Chemical engineering, really quick back to that. Chemical. So you're not just right-brained, you're also left-brained.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm sorry. That's fascinating. I've never had a musician come on and say they studied chemical engineering. So, okay, keep telling me. I love this.
And I worked for Caterpillar for about 5 years. And now I do diversity, inclusion, and equity. And so I build human bridges.
I love that.
So I went from building bridges as well as systems to building human bridges now.
And that's so cool.
Yeah. And so I also integrate music and art and comedy and storytelling into my diversity, inclusion, and equity work, and just into my whole life's mission of building bridges. I see that I can get to leverage the transformative power of music and of storytelling. And that's really effective, even when you're talking to engineers.
Yes, that must be interesting. So did you always know you wanted to be an engineer and then music came later? Or did you always have these two sides of you that were, the left brain and the right brain? Did you perform in front of your parents? I always ask anybody who's a singer, did you have the hairbrush and sing a song? What was your journey to understanding that music was going to be a big part of your life?
That is a great question. I've always loved music, but I never thought I could do it. Because I was a horrible singer and dancer growing up. Everyone laughed at me. I was pigeonholed into this box of nerd. I was really smart. I would help everyone do their homework, but they laughed at me about everything else. So it wasn't until I moved to Iowa from Cameroon. And, in Iowa, there's not many African people, hardly even many Black people.
Why?
They didn't really.
Is that where Caterpillar was? Is that why you moved?
No, that's where I went to get my chemical engineering degree. Okay. Yeah. So they didn't really know what African music is supposed to look like. So whatever I did, they thought was cool. I had a fresh start. I was not coming to an environment where people already had a prejudgment about my dancing or artistic capabilities. So it gave me a clean slate and I could reinvent myself.
I find that interesting because a lot of people, there'd be fear and trepidation in a new place, didn't know anyone. But I love the fact that you were able to discover and grow and develop this side of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as you're going through, as your chemical engineering, whatever that you actually do with chemical engineer, and are you also writing music? Are you also performing on the weekends? What's the balance look like for you?
So I've actually transitioned full-time from engineering to diversity and inclusion. So I don't do engineering anymore. I could if I wanted to. So now I do more diversity and inclusion than music, but they're both integrated. However, I know that in the world that we're moving in, many people have a hard time believing someone can do two things at once. People want to put people in boxes. So it's not a very smooth transition always. So while I integrate my whole self, There are some spaces too where I have to show just one side, else the people get they
I
don't know
love
what to do. But that's
I love
also part
the
of the learning process. When you shock people, they remember more.
I love the diversity inclusion part. Now we didn't talk about that, but I do want to talk about the building bridges, building home, building human bridges, which I love.
Mhm,
Tell me about diversity and inclusion. Those are buzzwords, and they're very big in the media right now. I've done a
mhm,
lot of shows on diversity and inclusion. What's your
mhm.
definition, and how does that look in your world?
All right, I would use an analogy to define those. Diversity is the existence of different kinds of people. You know, whether we're talking difference in looks, in ideas, in in different backgrounds. So it's not just race and gender. There's many different kinds of differences. So that's diversity. Um, and the analogy is diversity is inviting different kinds of people to your party. Inclusion is asking those different kinds of people to dance when they come to your party. So instead of just asking people who look like you or who think like you, ask different kinds of people. And then equity. What do you think equity would be?
So I love that. I was just going to ask you about equity. I love that
Uh-huh.
that word has begun to make itself into the equation because there
Absolutely.
you can only if you have diversity and inclusion and no equity, the formula
Mhm.
just doesn't work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I will finish that analogy by bringing equity in. So equity is asking different kinds of people to help you plan the party. Do you see the difference? If
Yes.
you have different kinds of people help you plan the party, you don't have to work so hard to get diversity and inclusion because already this party might have some gluten-free food. It might have, they might make sure it's in a place that has access to wheelchairs. Um, it might have something for everybody, such that you don't have to work so hard trying to make quotas to get people to come to a party that wasn't designed with them in mind. And they're just coming there trying to squeeze in and like, yeah, they're going to try to dance to the music they don't like at all. But if you had diversity helping you plan the party, there will be something there for everyone. And it's not
I
about
love
forcing any particular thing on anyone. It's about allowing everyone to be themselves. It's about creating a space where people can be authentic. So if we do equity right, diversity and inclusion will flow naturally.
Why do you think we have a hard time with authenticity? And then I'm going to get to music, I promise.
That's all right.
My authenticity is also something, vulnerability and authenticity, which to me, all of these terms all kind of commingle. They need to be
Mm-hmm.
together. But
Mm-hmm.
authenticity, a lot of people have a hard time with, either because they were burned before, hurt before, rejected before. They're afraid
Mm-hmm.
of what other people will think. How do you include? How do you encourage people to participate in the miracle of authenticity?
That's a great question. And I must say, it's not easy. It is a daily decision. Sometimes it's a moment by moment decision. Even I, who peddles authenticity, I struggle with it sometimes, especially as a Black woman. Sometimes we get misconstrued, we get perceived differently than what we're trying to let out. So sometimes I ask myself, is it worth it being authentic? If by me being authentic, I'm gonna be perceived as aggressive as opposed to sharing an idea, and another possible way of doing things. Anyway, so why would I encourage people to be authentic anyway? Because it's less work.
Right?
It's less work than trying to contort yourselves into all these expectations that society puts you into. And then sometimes also, it's not just society putting us in these boxes. We also put ourselves in boxes because we've learned to do so to protect ourselves. But we should come to a place where we understand that that doesn't have to be permanent. Yes, I understand sometimes we have to stay there just so we can survive. But ultimately, we want to come out of those boxes and recognize when it's time to come out of those boxes we had succumbed to in order to protect ourselves. So for me, authenticity has been healing, very
Amen to that.
healing. It
Yes,
is
that is
it
so
is
good.
less it is less work, and it just helps you thrive. I went through a period of a lot of trauma, and coming out of that trauma took me embracing my authentic self. That was the key to my healing. Me not
You know,
allowing
hearing
people to
her,
project themselves onto me, but me
you
being
want
who I
to
want to
listen.
be.
You want to listen to Seche because honestly, that's so powerful the authenticity helped you heal. I think a lot
Mhm.
of people, the pain that they're feeling, they could begin to chip away if they just allowed themselves to realize that being authentic
Mhm.
will weed out the toxic people, my opinion.
Yes.
It weeds out a lot of things, and a lot of these barriers then become
Mhm.
unnecessary or become smaller or minimal compared to
Mhm.
when you are constantly afraid of the people around you. Get yourself
Mhm.
some new people.
Mhm.
If you're
Absolutely.
constantly afraid of being your real self and you feel like you are not accepted in a group for whatever reason, trust me, find another group. Don't spend all that time and heartache on a group that you will probably never change. Let's talk
Absolutely.
about the music. So,
Woohoo.
blackcountrygirl.com. I loved it. I loved everything about your bio. By the way, kudos to you because the bio was great. You can't
Thank
imagine some
you.
of the bios I get. And so I loved it. So, talk about focusing on country music and talk about what it means, why you chose blackcountrygirl.com as your sort of URL. If that's your presence, if that's your marketing, is that how you feel? Is that explain a little bit about that.
Great, great question. So going back to authenticity, I'll tell you how I came up with a Black Country Girl, how I even wrote that song. So when I moved to Mississippi, I was working at Caterpillar at the time. One of my very good friends, Shamara, she sings so beautifully and she's Black. And I was begging her to teach me how to sing like her. And no matter how hard she tried, no matter how hard I tried, she kept saying, "Honey, you sound so country." And I was like, "No, no, I don't want to sound country. I want to sound like you." But no matter how hard, she was like, "You sound very country. And you do country things too. It's okay. Embrace it." And I was like, "Really? Do I do country things?" And I'm like, "So I can embrace it?" Because I used to think I cannot be Black and country, right? Because of the lack of representation of Black people in country music. So I
Yes.
used to think I couldn't be that. I thought it was an oxymoron. But after my friend told me embrace it, I decided to investigate if I was really country. Now, the engineer in me will not believe things based on feelings. I was like, I need to have facts. So I went
You
around
needed the
town.
fact.
Exactly. I went around town interviewing people, asking them if they saw themselves as country, and if so, what made them country. And I put all that data together and I realized, oh my God, I am
Your country.
87.39% country. So then I wrote the song Black Country Girl.
So tell me, I
So,
love that. Tell me about your music because it's about time for performance. So tell
okay.
me, obviously, Black Country Girl, that tells us a lot. What are you going to sing and give us the history, maybe the story behind it?
So I am actually gonna sing Black Country Girl.
Good.
Um,
Love it.
I'm gonna sing Black Country Girl. And did you want me to sing the whole song or just like a verse and the chorus?
No, I want you to sing whatever you want. The audience loves the song. So whatever you're comfortable with, I'm going to take myself off and we're
Okay.
going to get you
I
front and center.
All right, I will sing
Um,
the whole song, but
all right.
before I do, I want to talk about how this relates to the authenticity challenge that I'm launching. So, July 13th is Oxymoron Day. And so
I didn't know that.
I'm launching this authenticity challenge. It's all about people showcasing their complexity and our multifaceted identities and abilities. It's a way of defying stereotypes and inspiring curiosity and building bridges. As you know, being a Black country girl is not actually an oxymoron because 1 in 4 cowboys of the Old West were all country, but we don't hear about them in the mainstream. And so by showcasing these complexities of ourselves, we're building bridges in a way and inspiring curiosity, such that many things that sound like oxymorons, which aren't really oxymorons, you know, can come to the light, and we can embrace the paradoxes that we live within. So to participate in that, go to blackcountrygirl.com and enter your email address, and I would send you more information. So go to blackcountrygirl.com.
Love that. All right. Here we go, Black Country Girl. Setche.
All right, just a minute. Let me turn on the
Take your
mute.
time. Take your
Let me
time.
turn on the instrumental.
Take your time. I love it.
Can you hear okay?
Yep, we can hear you great.
Let me tell you a story. Kick back, relax. I moved down to the south and it seemed I fit right in. People say hi to strangers, even carrying the lunch. They feed you so much. Like you haven't eaten in days. There's always sweet as tea, but the cornbread is unsweet. And everything else is fried, even green tomatoes I'm fixing to learn. How to make sweet potato pie. And then I'll just go dance it up. Oh, with the best country dancers in town. The hobo has the purse. As I wear my cut of skirt and my cargo boots and head on a race place to have some fun. And people stare at me in shock. I look right back and say, I'm a black country girl. Ow! Ooh. Ow! Though I fit right in, yet the language has me tripping. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir, mister, sister, brother, mother, elder is what everyone is called. And I didn't know I was a ma'am. Do I look like a ma'am, Ted? Do I?
You do not.
I didn't think so. My homies think I'm crazy when they see my country collection. They can't conceive the fact that I enjoy yelling jets and that I love me some country. And I'm fixing to buy more, y'all. Give me some Alan Jackson, some Mickey Guyton. Just give me all the country you got. I'll just go dance it up. Oh, with the best country dancers in town. The hobo has the buzz. As I wear my cut of jeans and my cargo boots and head over the race place to have some fun. And people stare at me in shock. I look right back and say, I'm a black country girl. Oh! I'm a BCG, beautiful black country girl. Giddy up as I don't see the entry pull step. And grip into the left with a hip bump shake. As I scuff and shuffle, twist and turn. Everybody stares and says, she's got game. The wiggly country girl. The wiggly country girl. The wiggly, wiggly, wiggy, 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 wiggy. But don't be fooled. I may go more riding and horseback riding, but I'm still Africano. And I'm yet to drive a pickup truck with some guns in the trunk. And I'm yet to shoot my first deer and kick it at a ball game, drinking some beer. As I wear my cut of skirt and my cargo boots and headed at a race place to have some fun. And people stare at me in shock and look right back and say, as I wear my cut of skirt and my cargo boots and headed at a race place to have some fun. And people stare at me in shock and look right back and say, I'm a black country girl. I'm a BCG. Authentically me, all the way. I'm a BCG.
Woo!
Oh, let me stop that.
Oh my God. Love the energy. First of all, I love all the words. I was trying to listen to all the words. Lots of really cool messages and words in there. I think I heard cornbread that's not sweet or cornbread, something. I was really trying to listen to what you were saying, and the imagery was awesome. Absolutely.
Thank you. It's much better in person, trust me.
The best thing about this show is people don't want polished. They want
Okay,
to see
great.
you feel it. And they certainly saw you feel that. All right, Setche,
Thank
how do they
you.
find out more about
And
the
and
challenge? How do they
and
find
here
out
is
more about
a
your music? Tell me.
okay. So to find out more about my music and the challenge, go to blackcountrygirl.com. And I will update it with information about the challenge. So just go there, put in your email address so that when that information becomes available, I will send it to you. So you can just go to blackcountrygirl.com and I will see you there. And
Woo!
I also have some merch and things about authenticity and building bridges. Like this is a fridge magnet, as you can see. It says
Love it.
authentically me all the way. Those are
Beautiful.
the lyrics from my song.
All right, listen, I want you all to get behind. We need to support our artists like Setche. I love the creativity. I love that you just let it all out, the authenticity. So good, Setche. Go to blackcountrygirl.com, get out and support our artists. And then certainly you want to get involved in the challenge, the authenticity challenge that Setche has going on. Go to blackcountrygirl.com. You were awesome, Setche. We'll see you guys soon. Get out and support Setche. Download her music.
Thank you
Go to
so
her
much,
website.
Ted. Thank you
All
so
right. We'll
much.
see you guys later.